In this video, we're going to talk about work, how you get work as a freelance photographer, some workflows I've used, some little things that I've tried that have been successful, and what it takes to put yourself out there. Let's talk about it. So it all really depends. In my sort of short career, there's a few ways that I've kind of gone about it. Now I must say, fortunately, a lot of the work I've done has come to me. It's been word of mouth. But that all started because I started posting things I was doing during lockdown, like practicing with certain types of shots that then led to getting work. So there were shots that I would take of like still life, so like flowers in the spare room because I was learning how to use flash. And then a friend of mine who owned some bars saw them and then asked me to come and shoot some of the cocktails in his bars, which is kind of how, well, it is how Pedalo as a company grew. So it all kind of really depends, but there are some ways that go a little further than others. The first one is creating the type of work you want to do. So a good example of that is I took some photos of some trainers that I'd bought and I'd not worn them. They were in the studio for a few days for some reason. I'd not like taking them home. So I got some different coloured card and I took some shots of them and posted them on Instagram as a story, so not even on like a main grid, so they were there for 24 hours. And about a week later I got a phone call from someone at a magazine that is like a local magazine in Sheffield asking me to come in for a meeting, which was like exciting because, you know, it's kind of, oh, this sounds promising. And it was a shoot for a launch of a new crisp. So for those of you that aren't from Sheffield, we have a brand of sauce in Sheffield called Henderson's that is very sort of iconic and unique to the city, and this company had made some crisps basically with the same flavour of these as this sauce, and this magazine was kind of launching it, so they asked me if I would shoot the cover shot for it. And I was sort of talking to them about it and I said, oh yeah, I've kind of got some ideas. I've been playing around with like really like coloured card recently and doing some more kind of stylized kind of shoots. And they said, yeah, we saw your Instagram, that's kind of why we've asked you to come in. So I think that the sort of story of that really is just like post the work that you're creating because you don't know who will see it. It's been the same for things like I shot another pair of shoes, like a pair of Nike running shoes in a sort of product style, and a clothing shop in Sheffield reached out and asked if they could come and bring stuff here to shoot that would then go on their website. Word of mouth is another great one. People obviously see your work, they see you posting, people recommend you to people. I will sort of caveat with this is it's easier if you're easy to get along with and you're courteous on set, you're courteous during your shoots, you're polite to people. Not that there is a reason not to be, but you would be surprised. The main thing is you're easy to get on with, because that does go a long way, and people will want to shoot with you, people will want to work with you if you create a nice environment, if you have a good working environment like we have in the studio, if you create a good environment on set, you know, you're not demanding things, you're working, things will happen on set where it doesn't always go to plan, and it's how you adapt. And if you adapt well and you're composed and you get the shots you need, people remember that, and that leads to more work. There's a few other little things. Testing out gear is a good one. I find if I buy a new softbox like this sort of beauty dish behind me here, or if I buy a new light or a new backdrop and I want to test that out, then I'll reach out to people. I'll reach out to models that I know that are maybe looking for some more headshots or want to kind of create some work for their portfolio. And it's just simply send a message. Hi, I've got some new gear I'd like to test out. I think you'd be really good for it. Do you want to come and collaborate? Like, obviously I don't want to be paid for it and I'll not pay you, but we'll just get some work out of it that I can test this new light or softbox or something, and you get some shots out of it. So working sometimes for free because you're testing things or you're in an experimental stage of something that you're trying to figure out is another great way of kind of getting a bit more work. I think going back to like talking about posting work that you're doing, or posting things that like you might think it's just a throwaway shot, or you might just post it and be like, it is what it is, I'm just going to sort of share it. A little bit like the sort of trainer thing, like just posted it because I liked it, I thought it looked pretty cool, so I just put an Instagram story and work came from it. we were shooting something a while ago with Chris, so like the Steve Bracknell character. If you've not seen that, I'll link the YouTube below. And we were shooting a scene in a pub, and I was just sort of taking some stills while they were shooting, actually. So I had the camera in like silent mode, and I took this photograph of the four of them sort of sat around this table kind of in character, and edited it so it kind of looked like it was on film. But it was a really good shot. So I remember posting it, got retweeted, and then some people sort of saw it on Twitter and said, oh, that's such a cool photo, that looks really good. And then about 2 or 3 weeks later, I got an email from Chris Smith, who is Pete McKee's manager. Again, if you're not sure of Pete McKee, a very, very well respected like legend of Sheffield art. You'll have seen his work. If you ever come to Sheffield, you'll have seen like the snog that's on the side of Fagan's and the mural on the side of the church in town. Started out as a cartoonist back in the day, but has worked with like Oasis and the Teenage Cancer Trust and done really big exhibitions. Very iconic art that is so like highly respected. Like I own quite a lot of it myself. Like it's in my mum's house. I actually have a Pete McKee commission that he did of me and my brother and our dog when our dog was alive a long time ago, that is like pride of place in my mum's house, that she says if ever there is a fire in the house, that's the first thing she's going to grab to save. But I got an email from Chris saying Pete's doing a new exhibition. It's going to be a little different to normal because he's inviting other people in with his creative direction, so other mediums of work, not just paintings but photography and sculpture and things like that. So we went for this meeting, and it was based on the photo I'd taken of this Steve Bracknell shoot, basically, that Pete had seen and thought that's the look I want, that's kind of what I'm after, that kind of uniqueness, or that sort of documentary style shot of these people having a drink, basically, even if it was like for a sort of web series thing. So we had this meeting and we got a bit of a brief, and we kind of went away and discussed what we could do. And me and James went and did like a quick test shot, found a location for one of the shots that we kind of instantly jumped out of us that we wanted to go and do. And then maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, we had like a full week of shooting, and really happy with the results. Like everyone was really happy with them. Pete was very happy with them, which is obviously the most important thing because it's his vision as well. Like the shots that we took were his creative direction. And then they went into exhibition. They went into exhibition in Shoreditch first, and then up into Sheffield at the Millennium Gallery, and thousands of people kind of walked through these exhibitions over the weeks and saw these photos that I'd taken, and it was like a very proud moment. And from that shoot, or that work we did with Pete, like the sort of payment was like the first 6 months of rent for this studio. So yeah, I've kind of mentioned that before, like without Pete, this studio wouldn't have had the start it did, which is now done on to do so like many great things. And that all came from one photo, like one photograph that he happened to see, that then sparked his creative interest, that made him think, actually, this is the kind of people I'd like to work with because they are getting a result that I'm creatively after. So yeah, it's crazy how like one thing that you do can lead to lots and lots of other things. It's similar stuff with I did some shoots for a company called Yorkshire Tile. So that came about because their online sort of business manager I was like an old friend, and I'd seen her in a cafe, and she said, I'm going to email you about some stuff that I think you'd be really good for, because we've seen some of the stuff you've posted on your Instagram and stuff. That then led to going in and shooting the entire showroom basically for a place called Yorkshire Tile Company. So shooting all these bathroom sets and, you know, making them look really nice and bright and clean, and doing some shots of the staff and things like that. From that then led to another company, which is a furniture company called Laura James, that are based in London, but they kind of are up in Sheffield with their sort of warehouse, getting in touch and getting me to come in and do a shoot there. But this ended up being video work. I'd been experimenting with filming video. Obviously I had the A7 III at the time, and it's very good like hybrid camera, so I was just experimenting, just shooting video and posting it. and they'd seen that and asked me to come and do some work. And I've been very, very fortunate with those guys to do quite a lot of shoots with them on locations, even in other countries. We went to Ibiza last year to do a shoot, and I did some video work for that, and then some sort of detailed shots of in stills and stuff. Drone stuff with them as well, like, you know, getting some behind the scenes shots and creating some really nice work with those guys, as well as doing stuff in their studio as well, and the sort of white backdrop kind of photos that you see online in a lot of sort of commercial kind of things. So yeah, I guess the story is, if you are doing something and you like it, post it, because people might see it and people might get you work from it. It's not going to come to you if you don't initially spark that interest in somebody. The other thing is then obviously reaching out, and that can be very daunting. It can be very daunting to reach out to companies and say, I really like the stuff you do, here's things I do, it'd be really good if we could work together, or if we could do something together, if you would keep me in mind, here's a link to my portfolio or my Instagram or my Twitter or what website, whatever that would be. The thing that's daunting with that is it then leads you to open to rejection, because that company may get hundreds if not thousands of people getting in touch asking to do work with them. So you have to make sure you kind of stand out, but also be ready that you might get knocked back. They might not reply to you. They might say, no, it's not what we're looking for, but just keep going, keep doing what you want to do, and you will find the work that you love to do and help you develop as a photographer as well, or a creator in any kind of way. Like, I'm still looking at that. I'm still like, I'm 4 years in and I'm still like, do I want to do portraits? Do I want to do like landscape stuff? Do I want to be on location? Do I want to be in the studio? Do I want to be, you know, what do I want to do? But because I enjoy all aspects of what I do, I enjoy all kinds of photography, whether that's studio stuff in here, product shots, on location product shots, things that are like e-commerce kind of things, so like your white backdrop products kind of stuff, lifestyle photos, things like that. I enjoy all aspects of that, and it's important to still be doing it for you and making sure you're enjoying it, because that's going to help you get more and more work. And yeah, don't be afraid to post stuff. Don't be afraid to hear no. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. It is very daunting, but once you've done it a few times, it does get a lot easier. It gets easier to ask people, let's do something, let's work together. I really like what you do, because ultimately it comes down to you really as the person, and your work will speak for itself. Hopefully your work will, you know, get you so far, but you also have to be a good person to work with. And I like to think I am. I like to think the people I've worked with are happy with what they've got. I don't think I cause any problems on set. I'm sure I don't, or on location, or in any kind of shoot. I'm very laid back, which helps in this kind of high pressure kind of world sometimes. So yeah, that's kind of it really. That's kind of like touching that subject of what it is to go out and get work, and how I get work. And don't be afraid to use your contacts. Don't be afraid to use the people you know that maybe can help you. And because, you know, you'll get to a point where you're doing really well, or your work is doing really well. You might get to this point, hopefully you do. Then that's your opportunity to bring other people with you. That's your opportunity to bring other people up and give other people opportunities, especially if you've really fought for opportunities. It's so like nice to be able to help other people and share this kind of world. And I always say this, there's enough work out there for everybody. Like, it's competitive, of course it's competitive. There's a lot of people asking to do work, and it's a very tough world to stand out in, but there's enough for everybody. There's enough for everybody to do well and bring people up with you and create that community. And that's what I try and do. That's what I try and do with the studio, whether it's people coming here and shooting and letting them use this space for free to practice in. You know, there might be times where the people that I'm getting in here, or I'm kind of saying, yeah, it's free, come and use it, may get some amazing clients, like more interesting work than what, you know, or it's something that I want to be doing. But there's a sense of real satisfaction there that I've helped people and helped build this community. And that's ultimately kind of the aim really, is like build a community of people that all want to work together and all inspire each other and all will bring each other up. So yeah, it's quite a nice place to be. It's like, be there for people and help them and help people get work. You know, there's times other photographers as well, talk to other photographers, they might have work that they can't do for whatever reason. So they might pass something on to you, or they might recommend you for a certain style of shoot. You might have a brand in touch that is, let's say, wanting to do some event photography, and that's really not what you want to be doing, or it's not your thing. Then it's okay to pass that on, and vice versa. Like, someone might pass that on to you because they might know you really enjoy doing event photography, or you do weddings or something like that, and it's more your thing. I've certainly done that before, where I've passed work on to people that I thought, you'd be better at this than me because I think you'd be more passionate about it. But I think the ultimate thing really is create what you want to create and just trust that you're following the path you want to be on, and you'll get where you need to be. So that's it. Bye.